Alrighty then. What's happening? What's happening? Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic start to your weeks. I know it's a Tuesday night over there. It's a Wednesday morning over here. And we are absolutely excited to look at some of your Dynasty teams and give you some direction and, you know, just some advice moving forward. And we're excited to kind of get into it. Styles says, not going to lie, I missed the intro music, but what's up, gang?
I forgot about that.
I know, yeah. We used to. The reason we got rid of the intro, I mean, in case anyone cares, probably nobody does, but the reason we got rid of it is because a lot of people were angry that when they would rewatch the stream, that there would just be like 10 minutes of intro music. We always put times, like time codes, but they just never seem to find those time codes. So we figured we might as well just get rid of the intro, go straight to the damn thing, you know. Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Styles. Let us know who else is in the chat. Go ahead and hit that like button. Andrew says, what's up, guys? Just traded Musgrave for the 211. Recently picked up Pitts and ETN for London. Hoping to grab Sanders with one of my second rounders. No tight end premium. I don't mind them. I don't mind the pivots. Not bad. Not bad pivots, but not bad. Good size.
Sometimes you gotta pivot.
Bro, that's such an easy show to just put on.
It's honestly on all the time over here. Alan that is an easy show. Like you put it on when you're cooking.
How's she doing, by the way? How's because obviously if you guys don't know, Badaki's got a baby, could pop any moment. So what's the update on that for the people?
Is past the due date was yesterday.
So it could happen right now during the stream. You'd have to leave.
It genuinely can. Like it can happen at any moment. To where like I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for her to get up and say her water broke. My water broke. We need to go. Or, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I feel bad because she's just really tired. Her body hurts.
Yeah. So she's carrying a human inside of her.
Get it out.
So yeah. But I mean, that's exciting. You guys will know when it's just me solo dolo. Why? Because my boy had a child. He's a father, and you know, doing father tings.
You know.
But thanks for joining us, guys. Like we mentioned, we are going to be reviewing some of your Dynasty teams today, giving you some direction, some advice, and in some cases, a reality check. There are moments where we have to tell people, hey, I don't think you're exactly where you think you should be. But it's always an honest approach, if you will. But if you want your team reviewed on a stream just like this stream today, it's very, very simple. All you need to do is use a promo code LAND, become a Mother Flocker member. I'll put a direct link in the chat. And once you do that, on the Flock Fantasy website, in the top right, you'll see an account section. You can link your Discord here. And once you link your Discord, as long as you've used the code LAND, and as long as you are a Mother Flocker member, you will unlock all of our premium Discord channels under the Fantasyland tab. One of those being roster submissions. And that is where you enter all your information for us to go ahead and look at your team, including your sleeper ID, your team name, and any sort of context that you would like to have included. Now, I will say, when you are signing up, keep in mind that you don't get a team review until the 7-day free trial has ended. However, what you can do when you sign up, there is an instant access button that you can choose if you'd like to pay straight away. Completely up to you. Everyone's going to get a team review. You just have to wait until that 7-day free trial has ended. That's why we got some guys up here who we're just waiting for their trials to end, but we know we're about to get to their teams as soon as that trial is over. The guys who have these green hearts are good to go. It is wheels up for these guys. So we appreciate y'all. Moo Man says, if I give my league sleeper code, yeah, we just explained how to get that done. Love that, Angel. Welcome in. Andrew says, congrats to you, Badaki. Same with Styles, and I'm Nate, and Cryogenic and Peyton. So that's awesome to see.
Yeah.
But We will try our best to leave time for a Q&A at the end, guys, but let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty here, and let's help some people out who are supporting the channel with their Dynasty teams. First team we're going to be looking at here is Hollerback Girls, because there ain't no Hollerback girl. So
to them.
Yes, we've got his sleeper ID. We're going to go ahead and look at his team, but before we do, his team name is CD's Nuts. And
a classic.
First thing I'll say is thank you so much for the support. And we appreciate you. If you're in the chat, let us know so we can, have conversations back and forth. We always love talking to you guys while we're streaming. That's why we tag people and let them know we're about to review their team before we go live. But let's look at the context here, Badaki. It is a 12-team SuperFlex start 10. He says, I have the 101 this year and a 26 second. I mean, does that mean that those are all the picks he has? We'll find out, I guess. Looking to trade the 101 for a package including Love Plus. Can also throw in some wide receivers. Also looking to trade Russ. I won the chip this year. I know I need a quarterback too, and also need running back depth. Looking to rehaul my running back room and have a lot of running backs, but some are old and injury prone and some are just rooks. Also looking into trading to get some wide receivers to get some picks. Thanks. All right, so this is a 12-team SuperFlex start 10. We're talking about the champ. This is the reigning champ here, and his team name is CD's Nuts. According to Keep Trade Cut.
By the way, he's here, by the way.
Oh, he is?
It looks like it's Jacob.
Yes, Jacob. What's up, my man?
Appreciate you, man. Awesome.
I was trying to remember Jacob's real name over on our database because Hollerback Girls is not his name on Sleeper. But welcome in, Jacob. It's good to have you here, my man. He's currently ranked 5th in the power rankings, Badaki. And this league is, I would say, like relatively. Oh, I mean, some of these dudes at the bottom are struggling.
Yeah, I mean, it's open teams. There's a couple teams that need to get some new orphans, which might be a little bit more difficult.
1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, I'm not sure how this team's going to get filled with no draft picks. This league might have to do something where they have to incentivize people.
Don't have draft picks, though.
Maybe what happened is they haven't assigned them yet because there's no team to these guys. That's probably it.
That is probably it here.
But anyway, let's look at his team. He's currently ranked 5th in this league, and it's a SuperFlex format. Walk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously at the quarterback position, like you kind of mentioned here, trying to get an upgrade at a QB to Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, and then Trey Lance, RIP, Mason Rudolph, Bailey Zappi, Jacoby Brissett. You say you have the 101. I personally don't see the 101 in the draft picks here. Maybe that was a misspell or mistype or whatever the case may be. But if that is actually true and you do have the 101, then I'm assuming you're going to go take a quarterback in Caleb Williams, have Dak Prescott. That can already solidify your quarterback room.
That is very crucial information to know. Do you have the 101, yes or no, Jacob? And does that mean you also have the 112?
Yeah, because I see the 112 here.
Just clarify exactly what picks you have in all years in the chat. That will help us as we kind of navigate this team moving forward. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, so if that is the case, yes, I do, and no to the 112.
Okay, so he doesn't have the 112. All right.
That's very confusing.
Keep Trade Cut might be bugging then.
Maybe. So you have the 101, which means that I'm assuming you're going to be taking a quarterback here. The quarterback here with Dak Prescott and solidifying, the quarterback at the 101 with Caleb Williams, and then you have Dak Prescott, and then you have the depth with Russell Wilson. No matter where he goes, he had a decent season this year, and Dak Prescott is going to get a long-term contract extension, another extension. It looks like with the Dallas Cowboys. So I think you're pretty set at the quarterback position. So no stress there. I'm not sure if you have anything to say about the quarterback position there, Zach.
I do. He mentioned in the context that he was looking to trade the 101 for a package including Jordan Love. I assume when he says Love Plus, he's saying Jordan Love Plus. I would say that package has to be a pretty good package to trade out of the 101. But we can
not necessarily... Sorry, continue.
I was just going to say we can certainly look at options
Yeah.
He says also looking to trade Russ. I think you and I could both agree that at this point, trading Russell Wilson is probably not beneficial to your team. You're not going to get any more than a late third-round pick. And he could sign somewhere. He could sign in Pittsburgh. He could sign in Atlanta, and be a surprise starter. And I think, if you sell him now, at most you'll get is a third, I think. If you hold him, you might have missed out on a third-round pick, but you also could be in a position where he gains value in season. But outside of Dak, there's really not a quarterback that you feel comfortable getting long-term. So you're right. We either need to use that 101 on Caleb Williams or kind of, find a very impressive trade that includes Jordan Love. So sorry, what were you going to say there?
When it comes down to the 101 and specifically trading for a quarterback, and I'm not saying Jordan Love is not this quarterback I believe in, because I do believe in him. I think I want a little bit more solidified with multiple years behind him, someone like a Kyler Murray. Plus, I feel a little bit more comfortable there. In my personal opinion, maybe you will see that differently when I think of consistency, because we've only seen a couple games or this season with Jordan Love. It looks like he's a real deal, but I think I want a little bit more of a higher upside. And I think Kyler Murray, as much as I don't like the cockroach himself, I would like to go out and get Kyler Murray. And he says, you're a big Packers fan, though, so then say less. Because so he has you really want Jordan Love.
I think Love and Kyler are both, I would say this. They're both in the same tier for me. Y'all know I'm a Kyler guy. My biggest buy last offseason, the entire offseason, at the quarterback spot. But what I would say is they're in the same tier. So I personally, unless you just really want Love because you're a Packers fan, I would try and seek out whatever package gets me the most in return for one of those quarterbacks. So those are two names we could definitely look at. I know a lot of people won't love this, but I would also throw in like Trevor Lawrence into that ring. And if Trevor Lawrence gets you the most return alongside of, instead of Love and Kyler, I'd be open to it. I know not everyone will be there. But
yeah, I don't know if I think the other guy I would put in there as well is probably Brock Purdy.
I like that, yeah.
But that's also a division. Well, it's not a division rival because you're the Packers fan. But yes, I like Brock Purdy as well to be thrown in there. So Brock Purdy, Trevor Lawrence, Kyler Murray, and obviously Jordan Love are probably the sweet spot right now when you think of a quarterback that you can still build on and get your new QB2 with, plus getting another wide receiver, whatever that may look like, which we can probably go into a little bit more in depth now.
Yeah, I would say. So he did mention he's looking to add to his wide receiver room.
Yeah.
How many starters is this? Because this is already a very impressive start 10.
This is start 10. Yeah, so this is 2 wide receivers and 3 flex spots.
What that? So you 2 quarterbacks. You're able to start 5 2 running backs.
5 wide receivers.
2 wide receivers, 3 flexes, and a tight end. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
maybe we can start wide receiver there.
We can start Lamb, Nakua, Wilson, Waddle, Addison. That's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And honestly, we can also start Downs and Cooper. I don't personally think it's a real need of yours to upgrade at wide receiver. Oh, he says trying to trade some.
Okay. Right.
Well, I mean, I would keep this room here personally. I think that's one of your strengths. But we can talk about some names that you can move.
Yeah, if anything, I want maybe depth because of how many plays you can start. The reason why we talk about having more depth at the wide receiver position, Jacob, is because we like to have wide receivers in the flex position. We will always prefer starting a wide receiver in the flex position rather than the running back or a running back or any other position, right? So I think if you can still get that quarterback plus another wide receiver, whatever that looks like, I mean, let's just say is Jordan Love and Jaden Reed. I would still want to acquire Rashee Rice on my team, even though your team is still pretty stacked, right? That's a whole nother person you can have on your team and if somebody goes down.
I think just to add to that, these wide receiver values, I believe will hold, maybe not the right word. I think will be less volatile throughout this offseason. If you're going to make a move now, which let's talk about if that's the right move, right? But I would say that these wide receivers are going to have less volatility in their value throughout the offseason if you're going to trade for them than a running back. The right time to trade for a running back might be right before week 1 in your Dynasty League. What I will say is looking at your current running backs, I don't have a strong like need, in my opinion, to go out and add to this running back room. I feel like between Achane, and Kamara and Chubb and Ford, even Chase Brown, if potentially Joe Mixon is cut, like there's enough here. This isn't a barren room where I see it as like a huge glaring need. And oddly enough, the one place that you really have a need is quarterback too. And you have the perfect pick rather to go ahead and grab Caleb Williams with that 101. But if we were to let's just talk about trade packages for the 101 that include running backs and wide receivers. Let's just talk through options with him. So you are sending the 101. Teams. Okay, yeah.
Sorry, like I was thinking of looking at the teams that have Jordan Love, and see like when that team does get a new owner, where can we go here?
I like that. Yep. So what team has Jordan Love?
So for example, Team 9 has Jordan Love, or open Team 1.
Sorry,
right?
Just quickly though. Let's get on the same page just before we continue, Badaki. Do you think right now is the right time to trade the 101?
No.
Okay, I agree.
No.
And you want to hold that bad boy at least until the NFL draft.
100%, because once you hear it, once you understand, like for example, the Bears draft Caleb Williams, and then get a wide receiver that you really like, and get Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze at the 8th pick, I think they have as well.
Or Caleb Williams and Olu Fashanu or something, like improve the
exactly
line,
whatever that may be, like that value rises even more. So
yeah,
but yeah,
there's always more value when the hype is at its highest. But so just be aware, your 101, if you're going to package it, probably more value towards the draft. But go ahead.
Just looking at Team 9 here, because he said he likes Jordan Love, maybe trying to acquire Jordan Love in a package, whether that's reholding your running back room or maybe getting a wide receiver piece. There's one wide receiver that I really like and one running back that I really like that I think you can still get more on top of that. Maybe I'm being a bit greedy, but Jordan Love and one at the running back position will be Rashad White plus some sort of pick. Now, do I really want to do that for Caleb Williams? Maybe. But I think the one that I would be more intrigued by would probably be Jordan Love and then Michael Pittman.
Okay.
I feel like that would be the most even one, especially if Michael Pittman gets a long-term contract, or he stays with the Colts, or he goes to, a team with an elite quarterback that's not with Anthony Richardson, obviously. Not saying he's not elite yet. But like if he goes to the Bengals and takes over that T. Higgins role, or if he goes to the Giants, or if he goes to, once again, insert a team that he's going to have maybe more opportunity or just as much, that's really exciting. And that can also fill in to being a better maybe placeholder for some of these players, like a Jalen Waddle, who was very inconsistent on a week-to-week basis. Jordan Addison, who was actually really good. But maybe can you start someone like a Michael Pittman over him? I know you have Josh Downs, but still I would rather have a Michael Pittman. I'm not necessarily sure if there's anyone else on this team.
Sure, Michael Pittman. Having Josh Downs wouldn't stop me from getting Michael Pittman. I agree with you there, but it's not. I think you and I would agree. Not ideal to have both necessarily, but I think if you go the Love White route, I don't know. I just feel like I'd rather just stick and pick.
I would agree, I think that's why
unless you get like a future, a 2025 first.
Exactly.
And then you send like a 2024 second or something, or you only have your 2026 second. But let's say, just pretend this is a 2025 second, right? Pretend that's your 2026. That kind of deal I'd be open to. But I like Rashad White. I'm also not interested in like him being one of the crucial pieces of missing out on the 101. But yeah, you talked about Jordan Love and Michael Pittman. Would you need a extra on top of that for the 101? I think right now you probably couldn't, but I think by the NFL draft, I think you could sneak a second in there.
Yeah, I think you can as well. You could as well. A second, I mean, that can even be higher, just really depending on how much that person wants Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe that person is a Bears fan, just like yourself. You're a Packers fan, he's a Bears fan. Exactly, right? You get your player because you love your guy. So a lot of different ways it can go.
The other name that we talked about was Kyler Murray.
Yeah, my page keeps crashing here, so I'm trying to find Kyler Murray. Give me a second.
And we'll find out where he is in a second. By the way, okay, he's team 4. Jacob, I saw someone in the chat, a Waffle Houser, said he's looking for an orphan. So if you guys want to link up, obviously, you can vet Waffle Houser and see if he's gonna vibe with your league. But if you're looking for options, there's someone. But I know he's been on the stream as well. But Kyler is on team 5 or 4.
Team 4.
Excuse me.
Eddie Corndog.
And that becomes way more interesting with Amon-Ra and Justin Jefferson sitting there. Mm-hmm. I think that could be really juicy. I mean, what if we did something like Kyler? I don't think Kyler and Amon-Ra is realistic for the 101. I think that's going to cost more than just the 101. But
as in, okay.
Could you add back like a Josh Downs and your second, for example, that you had? Mm-hmm. Now, the issue is you're kind of strapped without picks, but
I mean, I would try and sell one of those running backs personally. You can add a running back because look at the running back room that he has. Josh Jacobs, Ty Chandler, Alexander Madison. As much as, can you send Jerome Ford? And like you can send Jerome Ford and Nick Chubb and still have the depth to play with a little bit because you have Devon.
I don't mind it.
Chase Brown.
The only reason I'm like hesitant is because we don't have any future picks to build around our running backs. So I kind of like to have as many options there, but I hear you. That's why I felt like the wide receivers were a little bit more exposable on this team.
Sure, and that's definitely the case. Like, you can send Josh Downs, Jerry Jeudy. I mean, you can send whoever else you want. That's below Jordan Addison, and I'll be okay with it.
Could you get like a mid-second in this deal? Kyler, Amon-Ra, a second, 101, and Downs. I don't think you could get a second, but again, the point of these streams isn't to tell you that everything's going to work 100%. It's just to spark conversations, get your foot in the door, and see what happens. But that team has a lot more pieces that are enticing, I would say.
Yeah, I would agree.
How about Badaki? How about this guy has a 103? And I personally think that Jacob needs a quarterback. Why don't we try in another option? Let's open another door here. What if we pivot from the 101 to the 103, right? This guy's got the 103, unless Trey Cut is bugging and this guy doesn't, right? Because that could totally be the case. But if he has the 103, open the door. Hey, if you wanted to pivot up to the 101 and control the draft, what would you be willing to get me? I mean, would he be willing to send you Amon-Ra and the 103 for the 101 and Jalen Waddle? Probably not. But again, like, these are the kind of conversations where you can, start to open up some doors and see what's possible. The only other thing I would say for the 101 that I would consider is if one of these guys have a Bijan or a Gibbs and a quarterback we like. So, for example, like this guy, Team 3 has Bijan, Breece, Travis Etienne, and Trevor Lawrence.
This doesn't have the quarterback, so I'm not sure he would give away Trevor Lawrence.
Right, but he's getting the 101 probably to get a quarterback. But I hear you. All I'm saying is start a conversation, open the door, and see what happens. If there's some deal around Trevor and Bijan or Trevor and Breece, and you can include the 101 and a Downs or someone else on your team. These are the kind of doors that I'm trying to open to improve the team, because I don't personally think you need to sell any of these top wide receivers. Like, these are the receivers that are going to give you value in a trade, but I'm not interested in moving any of them. And you can sell Amari at the right time. You can sell Judy if he signs somewhere in free agency. That's really fun. But, those guys aren't going to get you anywhere near a first-round pick right now.
Yeah, completely agree. In season feels like the best way to sell if you wanted to get 2025 capital. That could be the same. The same can be said at the running back position, whether that's Alvin, the Jerome Fords, the Chase Browns, Nick Chubbs. I mean, you can even say the same thing with what we said with the wide receivers, Amari and Jerry Jeudy. If they go to a decent landing spot and someone really wants to invest in them, can you get a second-round pick in 2025? Potentially, just to get your foot in the door in 2025, because you only have your first round pick. So there's definitely multiple different ways that you can kind of approach this. I mean, even maybe trading away Travis Kelsey. Like what can you get for Kelsey, or maybe you hold on to him.
That's the tough part. None of these guys are at like max value right now.
It's the one that you can, they're not. Travis Kelsey is not.
They're both just undervalued at the
I
moment.
wonder if this league is going to go to an 8-man league.
Well, looks like they're trying to get orphans in 4-team dispersal draft. These are all the players that are going to be in this draft if they decide to go that route. Which if he goes to 8-man, that changes this entire conversation completely.
1,000%.
What I would say,
the 101. Imagine you go to 8-man, and you have the 101. Yeah. And you just go by like the dispersal order or whoever you want to go. Like you get Josh Allen there and you chill.
Well, no, I think he has the 101 because of a trade. I don't think he actually owns the 101 because remember he was a champion. So if they did reverse order, he would be last.
Yeah, that would be rookie. That would be last.
But
so he'd be the 112 potentially.
Let's see if you and I are on the same page. I'm going to do a quick summation here. Quarterback, we're feeling good if you use a 101 on Caleb Williams, or if you use that 101 to pivot to Kyler plus, Jordan Love plus, Brock Purdy plus, Trevor Lawrence plus. Yeah? At the running back spot, I personally don't feel a huge need to change anything right now. That position is so volatile that even if you were to go get a James Cook and they bring in a running back in free agency, or they sign Saquon, or, like who knows what happens. You go get a Rashad White and, they drafted Braylon Allen, So I'm kind of happy to hold. I really don't want to make running back moves until the season starts, if I can help it. Of course, there is a higher risk reward at the running back spot because there is so much unknown. You could be in a situation where you buy someone super cheap, but you could also be in a situation where that player is no longer has the value that you thought they would have. At wide receiver, we feel very good about this core 5. And honestly, with Amari Cooper there, I don't see, and then we look at Mark Andrews, Travis Kelsey, I don't see how this team doesn't just run it back. We're running it back. We're trying to go back-to-back champs. And so, yeah, I feel pretty good about this team. We're definitely contending. At the end of the day, we want Caleb Williams. We want either a package of Love, Kyler, Trevor Lawrence, Brock Purdy, and more in return. And either way, even if you just stick and pick at the 101, you're going to have Dak, Caleb. That's a pretty exciting team. Just when you look at this team,
1,000%. And you still have the wide receivers and the running backs to play around with. So
yeah,
don't force a trade. Use your fantasy hotline there, Jacob, and we can definitely help you out when a trade does come through.
Let us know if you have any more questions. I hope we answered all your questions. Yeah, you talked about his running backs. We talked about that. But yeah, please let us know if you do end up having any more questions. Looking at this team, the good news is Nick Chubb is a wild card. I even feel like Isaiah Spiller in a way is a wild card too because
is he?
I think so. Eckler and Kelly are both free agents. So at the moment, Spiller would be the RB1 to begin the season. Now that is a little bit silly because we very much expect the Chargers to add a running back, right?
Yeah,
we've heard them talk about Saquon Barkley. We've heard them talk about the NFL draft. What I'm saying is just at a minimum, fun player to own, right? But
sure.
Jacob, if you have any questions, let us know. We'll move on to the next team here in a second. But any final thoughts from you, Badaki, before we move on?
No, completely agree. I think just echoing what Zach said, stay put, sell at the highest value, and let us know once your rookie drafts comes around, like, hey, 101, I got this offer. Once again, use your fantasy hotline.
Yeah, I agree.
Appreciate you.
We did get a super chat, so let's answer that before we go on to the next team. Brittleton Jones, what's up? He says, what's good, fam? How do you submit the teams? Great question. In fact, that's a perfect segue as we get into our next team that we're going to review tonight. If you guys want your teams reviewed by yours truly, it's a very, very simple process. All you need to do is use the promo code LAND. I put a direct link in the chat. Use the promo code LAND, become a Mother Flocker member on the Flock Fantasy website, and that unlocks a Dynasty team review, a live Dynasty team review from us. Now, what I will say is keep in mind that when you sign up, you do get a 7-day free trial. However, if you want your team to be, given instant access, you want to skip the 7-day free trial, there's a little button when you're signing up with our code where you can click instant access and you'll kind of skip that 7-day free trial. But when you sign up, again, using the promo code LAND, in the top right here, you'll see your name. You go to account, you link your Discord. Once you've linked your Discord, you will see all of the premium channels that we offer under the Fantasyland tab in the Flock Fantasy Discord. And one of those is going to be the roster submissions tab. That is where you'll be able to submit your team. Make sure you enter your sleeper ID or MFL ID in any context that you'd like to include as well. So that is how the team, you can get your team reviewed. Let us know if you guys have any questions about that. We'd be happy to answer. But also, just a heads up, when you become a Mother Flocker member, I know advertising is annoying. I just want to tell you everything that you're getting in that membership, okay? When you become a Mother Flocker member, you not only get a Dynasty team review, you also get access to our 2024 Dynasty Rookie Report, version 2.0 released February 1st, version 3.0 coming in March. You can see all the new additions that we added, all the new player profiles. I'm already thinking about players that I'm scouting now that I want to add to version 3, but a whole new set of rankings. You also get our regular SuperFlex and 1 quarterback rankings. You get unlimited access to the trade calculator where you can use our rankings if you'd like. You can use community expert rankings or community or expert rankings or anyone else who's on the site. You can use our rankings when you're doing the trade calculator. There are so many, different customizations that you can have here to tailor it exactly to your league. You also get to be a part of our Dynasty Trade Show, and you get the Fantasy Hotline, which is a direct DM to us for advice. So that is a lot of bang for your buck. So we appreciate everyone who is supporting the channel. Now, the next team that we're going to look at, and do us a favor, guys, if you're watching, go ahead and smash that like button. Simple way for you to show this channel some love. 25 likes. Can we get to 50? I think 50 is a good goal for today.
No doubt about it.
Already halfway there. Let's see if we can hit 50 together. Jimmy, I'm assuming this is you, my man. Are you Jimmy T or Jim on Discord?
Jim on Discord, Jimmy T in YouTube.
Hey, is it Jim or Jimmy? I feel like Jim. I would talk to a Jim very differently to how I would talk to a Jimmy.
Oh, yeah. Like, don't call me Dan.
Right. Like, your name is Daniel.
Yeah. Don't call me Dan. I don't like that. I actually, genuinely, I correct everyone that says that. Like, my father-in-law used to be like, hey, Dan, like, my name's not Dan Paul.
It's like when someone calls you Bud and they're not your dad.
Yeah. No. Come on.
Hey, Bud. I used to work at Apple, and, like, these older guys would come in like, hey, buddy, can you fix my phone? I'm like, oh, God, you just made me so annoyed right then. Like, no, I'm not your buddy, pal, okay? You're not that guy.
Not that guy.
But Jim or Jimmy, what do you prefer? What do you prefer to go by, Jimmy? Jim?
So, yeah.
Jimbo? Does Jimbo work? Office reference. All right. We've got a sleeper ID. And let's go ahead and have a geese. That's a very Australian thing to say, isn't it? Have a geese.
Just have a geese, mate.
We'll have a little geese at the team. We'll pull
have
that
a
up.
Cheeky geese.
Why don't you read the context while we're getting that all pulled up?
He said, "What's up, guys? Team, another seed. He's nuts name. You'd love to see it. 10-team Dynasty Superflex, full PPR. Got second place last year. Any moves I can make to improve my team? I'm thinking about trading a quarterback like Tua and Rodgers for a solid wide receiver, maybe Tyreek or Neighbors. And I can't add anyone off waiver wires yet, but I have open bench spots to pick up some depth."
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Talk to your commissioner. Say, hey, Dynasty's supposed to be all year round. What is we doing, baby? Let's open up the waiver wire. There's a reason we have off-season fab. Because when news breaks, you and your league mates can bet on it. I mean, the waiver wire is an exciting part of a Dynasty league. So let's talk to the commission. Say, hey, let's get those waiver wires open. What are we doing? You know, this is what this is Dynasty. But you mentioned 10-team Superflex, right? PPR.
10-team Superflex.
I don't think Titan
PPR.
Premium.
It's not tight end premium. Start 9. It looks like 3 wide receivers start and 1 flex with kicker and defenses, which
Okay, yeah.
is you love to see it.
Love it.
It,
Is
it
that
looks
Justin
like,
Tucker?
that is just
He's got Tucker. He's got the GOAT at the kicker spot.
Tucker and the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, so our team name is
Jimbo. What city?
There's no way. I did not know that before I called him Jimbo. Is it Jimbo?
Jimbo. Yeah, I mean Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Tua. I mean, first of all, the quarterbacks are phenomenal. Let's just jump in. Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
Anthony Richardson, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, Tua, Aaron Rodgers, Kenny Pickett. There must be a team here that is absolute dog water at quarterback that you can just take absolute advantage of. Let me find them. Surely.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm just thinking of. I'm trying to find the team that he can take advantage of.
Oh yes, this is quite a few quarterbacks.
Team 10 and 9. Actually,
But
you can take advantage of.
What I would say, Badaki, in a 10-man, I don't think I'm selling these 3. Right? In a 10-man, we want those heavy hitters, which is A-Rich, Love, and Prescott.
100%.
So we're looking to sell any of these bottom 3, right?
Yeah, I'm happy to sell Tua, Kenny, Aaron Rodgers, and see what I can get for these guys.
It's really the wrong time to sell these 2 names, but Tua is going to be extended soon. I think once that extension happens, that's your go-ahead to sell him for max value. Jimbo. He says Jimbo works. That's fantastic. I love that. But, yeah, so which team did you point out?
Well, Team 10 is called Shitballs, and probably for a reason, because he doesn't have any 24 firsts. He doesn't have any quarterbacks, and Will Levis and Sam Howell. The only person genuinely I would want from this team would probably be Drake London. And I still don't think that's enough for someone like a Tua. Maybe in the 10-man league. But I'm not necessarily sure if this is the right move to make at the moment by trading away Tua to get someone like a Drake London.
Yeah, that's a tough one. In a 10-man,
You could potentially take advantage of Team 9 if all quarterbacks are gone by the 106. If the 106, hypothetically, and if all 3 quarterbacks are gone and Bo and JJ don't have the draft capital or landing spot that we even like, 106 is looking for a quarterback, I think. Or Team 9. So Tua can be that guy, which has also still some ups. Like, can you send Tua for the 106 by that point when he has a long-term contract extension?
Maybe
you can throw in something a little bit more to get some to acquire back or to send. Excuse me. So can you send Tua and let's see what you have. Like, can you send Tua in the 209?
I think that owner, if all those quarterbacks are gone, could be in a desperate spot where he needs Tua for the 106. So it could be possible. You know, looking at this team, yeah, first off, the depth is crazy in this league. I mean, as far as like why is there so few players rostered everywhere? Or maybe it's just his team. I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen a Dynasty team that's only had 3 running backs rostered. Ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, the thing is, you've got strength everywhere. There's just no no-name guys. It's like we decided, I'm not saying that Jimbo did this, but it's like they were like, anyone who's irrelevant, we'll just drop in them completely. It's what it feels like. You know what I mean? Like, there's strength everywhere. Jimmy says, I traded some running back depth in a package for Richardson. I'd love to know what that package is, Jimmy. If you can tell us a trade that you made there. But, yeah, so you talked about, how about Team 5, who has Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson?
He has the 102.
He has the 102. But what if he wants to use a 102 on Marvin Harrison Jr.? Who has the 101? Let's find that team, because we'll find out what they're going to use it on very quickly.
101 has Lamar and Jalen Hurts, so that's definitely Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay. So he's not a great fit.
Yeah.
But if you could wiggle your way into like Rashee Rice plus,
there's another team.
I would like that.
Audie Bags Ballers, number 7, Team 7.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, Russell Wilson. He has the 105. So if that quarterback is out of that range by that time, and there's no quarterbacks, so those top 3 quarterbacks are out, can I get a Tank Dell? Can I get Jordan Addison? Maybe I would rather have Tank Dell. Can I get a Tank Dell and a Monty? Not
Yeah,
but like
I don't mind
or potentially, like, I like Monty to give you some depth. Well, you actually
I
have
think
Jahmyr
it
Gibbs.
needs to be and.
You actually have Jahmyr Gibbs, so I'm not necessarily sure I would want to acquire Monty in this scenario.
I like Tajay Spears and Tank, for example.
Yeah,
Tajay
that could be
and
nice.
Tank for Tua in this format. You know, quarterbacks, I'm not going to say are less valuable, but the guys who aren't like your locked and loaded top 6, top 10 are a little bit less valuable. So adding that depth could be very beneficial to your team. I mean, let's be honest for a second, though. If Jimbo took this team into the season exactly as it is, he's 100% in the playoffs without making a single move. Right?
Yeah, I
So
would agree.
I think the right time to sell Tua is probably when he gets his contract extension. The ideas that we talked about was not team 5, because they are probably not going to be very negotiable. How about team 6, which currently has Burrow and Goff? Would you be able to wiggle your way into a Nico Collins there? And there could potentially be more in return, depending on how desperate that player is. We talked about a Tajay and a Tank. We talked about with team 9, Michael Pittman plus something. Maybe that's a 206. We talked about with team 10, Drake London plus something. Maybe that's a 201. Right? So those are some moves that you can, I would say, just get your foot in the door. Let's be honest. We say this every single time we do a team review. You're never going to get a trade done from the first send. At least it's very rare. 9 times out of 10, there are multiple counters before a trade is completed. Our goal is to just get you in the door. And then once you're in that door, you can use your fancy hotline if you've got that set up. Let us know if you haven't, to let us know what sort of counters you've received. And eventually you'll get to a spot where you're both happy, a little bit unhappy. That probably means it's an even trade, right?
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers is going to be very tough to sell right now. I don't think you can sell him until the year starts.
I think you keep him because Anthony Richardson, we saw go down with the injuries. Dak Prescott has been out with injuries for a couple times as well.
Yeah.
So
fair.
if you can sell Tua away, keep Aaron Rodgers as a depth piece. And if one of those guys do go down, your top 3, then at least you have Aaron Rodgers who can step in there for you.
I would say as well, like, if I can get any second for Kenny Pickett, I would take it. It's a 10 team. I would even extend that to like the 301. I just am not a Kenny Pickett guy, so. But at running back, he's going to add to his depth. It's just the waiver wire is closed. Add a couple names that, in a 10-man, let's talk about some names that might actually be on the waiver wire. I don't know this. Like, we don't have his waiver wire right in front of us. But if a Zamir White is on the waiver wire, or if a Jaleel McLaughlin, a Chase Brown, right? A Khalil Herbert. I picked up Khalil Herbert in one of our leagues. A Devin Singletary. A Zach Moss. A Tyler Algier. A Gus the Bus. A Damian Pierce. A Bigsby. If these guys are on the waiver wire, those are your kind of priority ads. Just to add some depth. You never know what happens with injuries. At wide receiver, you've got plenty of depth already. And then at tight end, any names that stand out to you that could be on the waiver wire?
Tucker Kraft, potentially. I'm thinking of the Jets tight ends, the Tyler Conklins. I doubt Isaiah Likely is on the waiver wires. Darren Waller.
Brevin Jordan, for sure, is going to be available.
Noah Gray, you think of him when...
Sure. Dulcich.
Yeah.
Who wasn't able to stay healthy.
Greggy. Daniel Bellinger. Shout out to the Bell End.
The old Bell End.
The old Bell End. Those are some guys I'll be definitely trying to pick up. And just to give you some depth at the tight end position.
Yeah.
As well.
I
mean, look,
agree.
this team is great. Wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith, Jaden Reed. It looks like you clearly went back-to-back picks potentially with that Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith or maybe you just had the 10, what is it, the 105 and the 108 or something like that. Yeah. And we love Jaden Reed as well. You have Christian Watson. Maybe this is something that you could potentially do at some point in time. Can you trade away Christian Watson so you're not having both Jaden Reed and Watson on your team? I don't mind it. Like, can we pivot? Can we pivot off of that to get to get something else?
Yeah.
Can we pivot to?
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, can we pivot and get, I don't know, a Jordan Addison? And I'm not sure where people value some of these players. Just because, you don't want to limit your upside there when it comes down to having both of those guys on the same team there. And it was probably a struggle this past year when you was like, Christian Watson's going to start, but Jaden Reed's doing so good. Who should I start? You're probably going back and forth about that all year. So that's probably something I would be trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just copying our Discord link for someone in the chat.
Yeah. You said he got lucky and got Zay in the second. That's awesome.
That, yeah.
I took Zay in the second, one of our leagues as well.
In a 12-man.
Our follower league.
I know.
And that was in a 12-man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Zay was our favorite late first round pick of last year. Just could not understand why no one wanted him. Why didn't they want me, man? But look, I think this is a very good team. And you're very, you've got studs all around. And in a 10-man, a CeeDee Lamb is invaluable. A Jahmyr Gibbs and McCaffrey, you can't put a price tag on those names. A Laporta, these top three guys. In these kind of formats, it's so difficult to get names like that on your team. And those are the type of teams that actually win championships. Now, you're facing off a guy in Team 1 who's pretty damn good himself. In fact, he might be a candidate for Tua. Can we wiggle our way into Garrett Wilson or T. Higgins? That's something to consider.
Team 1.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, Bryce Young, Baker.
There's just question marks all across the board there.
I wonder if he would hold, though, because he has the depth. That's what I would do, personally.
Yeah, he probably would, but, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't think anyone who has that room feels, super comfortable.
Yeah. Have the conversation. See what happens.
Yeah.
I think a lot of these teams, if they play right, could potentially take advantage of players that need quarterback. I mean, the guy with the 101 is set at quarterback, so he's taking Marvin Harrison Jr. The guy with the 102 has Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. He could stay, or he could. What if he not reaches, but takes Malik Neighbors? I doubt he would do that. I think he should really take Caleb, personally. The guy with the 103 needs to get a quarterback. He has Brock Purdy, Geno Smith.
Yeah.
There's definitely a couple of different ways this team. Guy the 104, that's the...
I don't know what teams these are, by the way.
104 is the Team 4.
Team 4?
Team 4 has 104. Yeah. He has the 104, but he's set at quarterback. He's looking to get Malik there.
Yeah.
So I think some of these quarterbacks might fall to some of these guys that need a quarterback. So maybe you need to get that deal done sooner rather than later. For example...
I'd say as soon as the extension goes through, you start shopping. Mm-hmm. But
yeah,
it's a really good team. It is. And Jimmy said earlier, the message is gone now for some reason, but he said he's tough to trade with. I don't think he'd give up Higgins or Wilson, Team 1, but you can try it. Yeah, exactly. Just put your foot in as many doors as you can and as many deals as you like the idea of. And, some people won't even reply, but some will. And, you'll start to spark a conversation. All it takes is 1 out of 10 members in your league to agree to a deal for you to get one done, right? All it takes is 1. So, but yeah, this is a very good team. I'd like to open up the floor to Jimmy for any questions. Let's do a Q&A with him before we end here. He says, should I trade Tua, Rodgers, and the 209 for the 103 and Neighbors?
And take Neighbors? Yeah. I would do that, 100%. No question about it.
Yeah, especially in a 10-man. You want a heavy hitter. Depth does not matter to me as much. And it's a start 9. So it's not like one of these 10-mans where you're starting 11 or 12 players. So yeah, I love that deal. Tua, Rodgers, the 209, and the 103. Or for the 103.
Yeah, he said I tried to offer to Aaron Rodgers. He declined it. Well, add the 209.
Yeah. 100%.
Add the 209. I mean, I would even say add Christian Watson. Is that crazy to say?
I'd say choose one or the other.
Well, yes, not the 209 and Christian Watson, but yes, choose one or the other.
Yeah.
Because once again, that's a person that we can say you can get rid of, and then you get Malik Neighbors. So that's a perfect thing you could potentially do.
I agree. All right. So just to recap, I know we see a couple questions in the chat. We'll all get on the same page here for a second. You know, if you guys want to, like what we just did for a couple people here, if you want that experience for yourself where we look at your dynasty team, we look at your league and kind of break it down and give you some advice on what direction to take, I'm going to quickly walk you through those steps. It's very simple. All you need to do is become a Mother Flocker member on the Flock Fantasy website with the promo code LAND. That's very important. You have got to use the code LAND to get any of our perks personally, okay? So use the code LAND, become a Mother Flocker member. This is what the website looks like. Now, once you sign up, when you finish signing up, very important steps here, guys. Top right, account. Click on account. There will be a section where you can link your Discord. Once you have linked your Discord, you will then be able to access our premium channels over on the Flock Fantasy Discord server. So you'll see Flock, Mason, and then right under that is Fantasyland with the orange footballs. If you're a Mother Flocker member and you've linked your Discord, you should 100% be able to access all of these premium channels. One of those channels being the roster submissions channel. You can see this is where Jim put his team with his league ID, his team name, and the context of his format. We're going to make sure and mark these guys as good to go so I can look at that later. But that is how you get that done. Now, very, very important information. When you sign up with the code LAND, you're going to have to wait for your free trial to end in order for you to get a Dynasty team review. However, if you want to skip that free trial, there is a instant access button that allows you to skip the trial and instantly make a payment. Now, totally up to you. Take the 7-day free trial if you want, right? Check out the website, but you only get a Dynasty team review once you've actually made payment after that 7-day free trial has ended. So that's just a little heads up. But the good news is there is so much to your package when you become a Mother Flocker member. Obviously, you get this experience where we review one of your Dynasty teams. You also get all of the articles on the entire website, not only from us, but from all the brilliant minds that we work with. And our 2024 rookie report. This is version 2.0. You can see it here. All the additions that we added to version 2.0, you can download this and view it somewhere else, or you can just preview it directly on the website. Our rankings are going to update. There'll be a new version every single month. There'll be a new version. So version 3 is what we're currently working on now. You also get access to our SuperFlex and one quarterback rankings, our prospect rankings, and unlimited access to the trade calculator, as well as being a part of the Dynasty Trade Show and getting a fantasy hotline, which is a direct DM to us for advice. Now, I'm going to make sure and just get through some people's questions in the chat. If you have any questions about what we just talked about, now's the time to put your questions in the chat. Brizzleton said, I just became a Mother Flocker member. Love that. Huge love, man. Appreciate you. Feel free to message over here in the fantasy hotline tab so we can add you as a friend and DM you. King says, where do you put the link in the Discord? Well, if you're looking for a link to join our Discord, I'll put that there. But if you're looking for the area where you submit your teams, that's in the in the roster submissions tab under the Fantasyland football, orange logos server, part of the server. We got a super chat from Aaron. He says, I signed up. I didn't see to end the free trial. What do you mean by that, Aaron? Do you mean there's not an option to end the free trial? I think you have to choose that instant access button when you're signing up. I don't think you can go back and do it unless I'm mistaken. Let me know what you mean by that. Brizzleton says, couldn't find the instant access, so I got to wait a week, I guess. Sorry about that, man. Scott said, let's see. Any other questions about Brizzleton says the instant access must only be available on desktop and not on the phone because I didn't see it. Okay, no worries.
Yeah, maybe.
But don't worry, guys. You know what will happen is feel free to message us or put your team in here. When I see someone put their team in there, I always add them as a friend, and then I just get their details through a DM. So don't worry.
Yeah.
That will all be fine if you did a free trial. That'll all work out. But Aaron, let us know what your question.
I think he meant like he didn't see like the end of free trial button,
Okay.
kind of like what the
Maybe
Jones dude said.
we can clarify with the devs too.
Yeah, we could probably ask the dev team. So
and we'll see what they say.
Yeah, but we appreciate you guys. It's awesome that you guys are.
What's this screenshot?
Supporting. I think I was just trying to show you where the button was, but I couldn't see it either.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, we'll have to talk to our devs about that and see.
Yeah.
Of course, Jimmy, no worries. Aaron says, I didn't see it on desktop or unless I'm blind. Glad to be back with you guys. Hey, super glad to have you, Aaron. And by the way, guys, we do host Dynasty Leagues for our followers. However, they're a bit difficult to get into just because we kind of believe in like the longevity of a Dynasty League. Mm-hmm. We just feel like if we're constantly doing startups, we're not going to be able to actually care for our leagues or put time and effort into them, you know? So if anyone out there is a Motherflocker member, feel free to DM us and say that you want to get on the wait list. If at any time there is an orphan available, you know, we look at that wait list. We've got people on it, and they are the first people that we go to. So DM us if you want to be a part of that. Ricardo with a super chat says, love the vids. Keep up the good work with a $10
Appreciate
donation.
you, man. Thank you so much, man. That's awesome.
That's very kind. Thank you, Ricardo. And if you have a question, man, we'd love to, we'd love to answer it for the donation. But
yeah.
But did we answer everyone's questions? Can we get some thumbs up in the chat if we did? I want to make sure we got to everyone, and everyone understands the process. And I know it can be a little confusing, but
yeah. And if you have any questions or anything, or any issues, you could even just on our Discord. If you want to go straight to the devs yourself, guys, you can. There is like a thing in the site recommendations or site issues.
Yeah, there is it's under setup and then site issues. I'll show you guys.
Yeah, so that is something that you guys
there.
can even say like, hey, what happened, and the devs will respond to you over there as well. So like, there's one big community over here, which is awesome, and the devs really try to fix things as soon as possible. Like, we'll probably send a message saying like, hey, where's that button after this live stream, and he'll be like, oh, let me check it out.
Yeah,
like you essentially can do the same thing.
Yeah, if you want to ever talk to the devs, the site issues tab is available if anything isn't working properly. Brizzleton says, do you guys cover IDP? I'm starting a Dynasty League with IDP this year, three positions.
No, not really.
Not really. We always aim to be as honest as we possibly can.
It's interesting. Like, it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just I don't think we have enough, first of all, players or people that want to do IDP. Like, I think if we were to go to like our home league and say, you guys want to add defensive players, they'd be like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just not an area of what's the word, like that. We only really want to cover things that we know. So we could fake it and pretend we know much about ADP or IDP, but we just don't. So
yeah.
Love that. Waffle Houser says, I'm a domain guy, but V2 is a baller. I appreciate awesome, that, man. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you for the donation.
Yeah.
Very, very kind. All right, why don't we end the stream here by answering 5 questions? Okay. 5 questions.
Top 5.
The first 5 in the chat is the questions that we're going to answer. The first one is from Alan. He says, I have the 101, 108, and I'm a win now team. I have weak running backs in a SuperFlex and a tight end premium. I have McBride. At the 101, I'm probably just taking the best player available unless I can get some sort of ridiculous package. And at the 108, I think you need to trade back for a running back, most likely.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can trade the 108 for a running back, depending on the running back you can potentially get. But I doubt anyone is going to be able to give you that. a decent running back maybe that you would like.
This is question 2 out of 5. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's what I was saying.
Casey says Senior Bowl. You guys doing some updates after the Ritter news? I don't even know what the Desmond Ritter news is.
Is it Ritter or
February 6th? It looks like Falcons coach signaling in his introductory press conference that the Desmond Ritter era is over. I mean, that's what we were expecting, personally. Right?
He said Rattler.
Oh,
Spencer Rattler.
Well, yeah, look, that's I am very open to Spencer Rattler. I think he's exciting. Badaki and I are on two different sides of the Rattler conversation. He's exciting to me. I said this in our rookie report. There's like 1% of the population that could ever dream of having his arm talent. I personally think that people view him and his leadership and him as a person. They only go back and think about who he was in that show when he was 17 years old. He's a completely different person now. He operates a different way. He's matured a lot. Now, what I will say is he doesn't read a defense well. He just doesn't. He doesn't anticipate his throws. So he's got all the talent in the world. He just doesn't play the position well yet. But if you were to like have a ball of clay and you gave it to someone who is an offensive mind, a quarterback whisperer, I think he could be a very exciting player. And if he goes in the second round, he'll be one of my favorite picks in the second round of SuperFlex drafts.
Yeah, I'm the complete opposite. It's not that I don't see there being success. Like I think the arm talent's there. I think he was this. The pathway for him has been really rough. From massive success, not even from the show. I'm talking about like when he went to college and then he got benched. And I think a lot of people have seen that and understand that, and he has improved in ways. And I think one of the biggest things that he still hasn't improved in his 4 years of college or 5 years of college was the reading of a defense. And like maybe that happens for him in the next level in the NFL. And he did well at the Senior Bowl for sure. Like I give him props for that. I don't see him being a starting quarterback. I'm not saying you see that. I'm saying more like I don't see him being a starting quarterback. He'll be a good backup who has the arm talent that can throw the ball deep down the field, which is going to be great. But it's not somebody that I think I want to be investing in.
No, I do think he could be a starting quarterback. I think there are maybe 6 to 7 quarterbacks in the NFL today with his arm talent. Maybe.
Yeah, and I would completely agree.
Like I said, he has to go to the right spot with the right person around him to know, kind of how to grow. But, we're all learning new things every day. Why can't he? Why can't he learn?
Why can't he? I mean, yeah, look, we've seen it. I won't be surprised if the team like my Giants do it because Brian Dable's known to mold quarterbacks.
Exactly.
So he probably loves the talent, and that's a place that he can go. Do I love it? No.
Yeah.
But I can see a pathway. It's very, very slim.
Yeah. J-Rod, this is question 3. Yeah, 3 out of 5. What would Jason cost in a 1 quarterback league? Team offered him up? I think the best question to start with is to ask the guy, hey, what are you looking for in return? Because maybe he's looking for a specific position, or maybe he's looking for a specific draft pick. But I would say in a 1 quarterback, once the Neighbors, Marvin, Odunze, Bowers are off the board, I think the 105, 106, 107 is free game. So, yeah, ideally you start with the 107 or so and work your way up and see what it takes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that might change depending on some of these landing spots because not everyone loved the landing spot for Jackson Smith and Jigba. But if you're telling me Brian Thomas Jr. goes to a really good spot, if you're telling me that Troy Franklin goes to a really good spot, if you're telling me that Lamar Conklin goes to a really good spot, I think everyone would probably want, I could be wrong, like tell me if I'm wrong, would probably want those guys based off of the landing spot specifically.
I love Lad. You won't find a bigger Lad guy than me, but I think I'm heavily still on Jason over Ladd.
Okay, I just think of the
I
cap,
also
like,
think
if
the
Ladd
opposite
goes
side because I don't see Lockett being a long-term part of this team with a new coaching change.
I think my biggest concern for JSN is nothing based off talent. It's based off quarterback now. Like, okay, Geno Smith. What's happening with Geno? Does Geno stay? Do they get a quarterback like JJ? That'd be really exciting. Or do they go out and get a do they go out and get a Gardner Minshew? You know, or do they go out?
That would actually be so awesome. I would love that, dude.
I'm just thinking of, like, you know, I think I would potentially, and you're telling me that Ladd or Brian Thomas goes to one of these quarterbacks in the late first. You know, the elite quarterbacks are all in the late first, essentially, right? Like, if you think about it, in the first round of the NFL draft, goes to one of those quarterbacks, that feels really more exciting. Sure. But once again, nothing knocking on Jason's talent, just based off situation and potential situations where those guys could go. But yeah, anything can happen with JSN.
Aaron says he's going to throw his SuperFlex home league in the Discord after the free trial because he has problems with the 101 and the 104. Hey, man, we're excited to have a look at it. Predictions for what Chargers will do to revamp that offense. This is question 4 or 5. Okay, like we said, we're only answering 5 questions here. The more I think about it, I think they're going to grab Brock Bowers, personally, because Greg Roman was literally just as we were just now was officially hired as the OC. Greg Roman has a extensive history of heavily involving his tight ends within his offense. Go back. He's always using tight ends and favoring them over wide receivers. So I kind of feel like Brock Bowers is in some ways a lock to the Chargers. I could be misreading that. I think Malik Neighbors is the best player available on the board when they pick.
But I mean, that's hot, though, because that means Malik's going to the Giants. But yeah,
that could be awesome, yeah. But I think they're going to run through their tight end. I think that's what they're going to do. Improves their run game. Improves Justin Herbert's passing options. He probably becomes the number 1 option in that offense at some point during the year over Keenan. And that's how they revamp it. I think they also are going to try and improve their run game. They'll bring in running backs. Whatever running back that is, we don't know. But, yeah.
Yeah, 100% agree.
I think defense needs more help than their offense.
I would say their offensive line needs help.
Yeah. They just weren't healthy last year.
Yeah, and if I'm not, Corey Linsley, doesn't he retire, or like he's not playing anymore? And that was a massive free agent pickup because he has like a season or like career-ending injury. I think Rashawn Slater also got injured last year. Like, didn't he tear something as well? I think there's a couple gaps that they need to fill. And that's why I don't think an offensive line is out of the question. But their offensive line is actually really stacked in this class. From what I've been hearing,
they could find a good one in the second.
In the second, exactly. So, just depends. But yeah, I would agree. Running back, Brock Bowers, or offensive line, or they get rid of Mike Williams and they sign big money T.
Yeah. That's hot last question for today. We said 5. We got to stick to it, gang. This is the 5th question. He says, did you guys say you're out in Australia? Always wanted to go. Yes. We moved here. I moved here in 2013, but we go in between. Kind of have dual residency. Yeah. But yeah, so we live here. Both married to Australians. And
yeah, now we live in freaking Sydney, mate.
Sydney, Australia, mate.
Come see the Opera House.
Yeah, that's it for today, guys. We appreciate you. Thank you to everyone who's supporting the channel over on the Flock Fantasy site. Genuinely, we could not do what we're doing right now. We could not be putting in the amount of effort we do every week if we didn't see like this community backing us. We just couldn't. It's just me and Badaki. You know, there's literally no one else on this team. Just me and him. Design.
Yeah.
Editing. You know, video editing. You're over on Illustrator. You know, your wife is helping us out. From admin to coming up with the ideas to recording, branding, all of it.
Branding, I mean, shit.
It's just us. There's no team behind us. I know a lot of people have a team. We'd love to do that one day. It's just not realistic. We got to get to a place where we can fully support our families before we can even consider doing that. But you guys are absolutely helping us get to that place. So we appreciate you. And we'll see you guys very soon. All love.
Love.